So the only we're going to give away grips tonight for the Moto Showcase bike.
Oh.
And you'll hear me announce what you're going to be giving away for your listener appreciation. That's it, listener appreciation. Viewer listener appreciation.
Give away this?
No, that's going to be for random share. That's it. There is no random share anymore. There's listener appreciation. So yes, you'll be giving away. Viewer appreciation.
That's what I'm giving that.
Yeah, we'll make that announcement in just a minute. Grips to the Moto Showcase.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock. I am ready to go. And here it is.
I'm Jerry Maddox.
And I'm Ryder Maddox in sunny California.
And you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, hosted by Joe Abbate.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. I am your host, Joe Abbate. Thank you for tuning in. And I have with me my lovely hostess, Susie. Susie got a little bit of a new background there. Looks pretty good. There it is. It looks pretty good, Sue.
Thank you.
And thank you. We are, well, I'm going to tell you in just a minute what we're going to be using for our viewer appreciation. But right now, I want to thank our sponsors. Of course, they are Motion Pro, Preston Petty, Vidco, ReplicaMotorcyclePark.com, Racer X, Full Circle Racing, the International Motocross Museum. Of course, Mike Chamberlain. Our show supporters are Al Roof, as I just mentioned, Mike Chamberlain, and Durf Cycle. Thank you, Fred Hudgens, for all the help you're giving us, and thank you for that rather large shirt order, Fred. We're working on that, and we're going to get that out to you soon. FastGuyStuff.com. Still sharing our show all over the place, along with some great stickers. And of course, you just saw Jerry Maddox just a moment ago, a man who is taking on the country by storm. Him and Clunker, the number one 125cc expert in Armor last year, him and his son are going after 2 titles again. So good luck to Jerry and all your sponsors out there. Now, don't forget to keep sharing the show. Whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, keep sharing the show. And this week, I took some things off my shelf. So the winner of the listener appreciation group will have either their choice of the Rat Pack by Sean Levy, or another favorite of mine, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Or do we have something else, Susie? Do we have something else?
We do.
We have. There it is, the stolen title. Just this morning, the stolen title. Martina Faltova-Cope sent me a message this morning, heard about the show we were doing tonight, that we were going to have Garrett Wolsink on. Well, not in live, but both Harry and Garrett Wolsink in a video, and said she would love to give away a copy of this book by Gary Tipping. So keep sharing the show, and Martina Faltova-Cope will send you an autographed copy of the stolen title. And yeah, we will have that. We will have the video coming up shortly. Right now, we're going to the Next Time Try This segment. The Next Time Try This segment has always been brought to you by Vinco. Be sure to see them online at vinco.com. They have over 1,000 products in their catalog. Let's see what our Next Time Try This segment looks like this week. Soon as I find it. Here it is. On tonight's Next Time Try This segment, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about refinishing your rear sprockets if they're aluminum. Over time, they can get oxidized, they can get scraped up if you had a chain derailment, and just look tired overall. In this segment, I'm going to show you how with some sandpaper and a Scotch-Brite pad, you can freshen up that sprocket before you put it back on your bike. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your sprocket is free of any grease, grime, dirt, anything that's going to impede doing a good job on it. I like to clean things up with a little AMSOIL breaking parts.
Did anybody find my book
Of
thing
course,
funny?
you can do this prior to, and if you have a parts washer, you can put it in there. Just make sure everything is about as clean as you can get it. I'm only going to do half the sprocket, keeping the time in mind here on the show. I begin with some 240 grit paper like this. Okay, 240 grit, and I like to put it on a board like this, a little sanding block. And I start off with my 240, covers a lot of area, and I begin going around with pretty firm pressure, and I begin going around in circles, both to the left and to the right. You can cover a lot of the sprocket if you do it on a long board sanding block like I'm showing you right here. You can also do it by hand. Nothing says you have to use a sanding block. Going around in little tight circles is what makes it look nice though. After the 240, I move up to the next finer grit. I use a little 320. I put that on my board, follow up again. Nice tight circles, keeping real firm pressure on there and keeping the board flat against the sprocket. After I finish with that, I use a green Scotch-Brite pad. It's got a pretty coarse grit to it, but it's of course finer than the sandpapers that I've used. And I may even follow up with some brown or red Scotch-Brite if I'm in the mood, or if I have it, I want it to look a little bit nicer. And there you have it. Got a sprocket that looks nice and fresh. It's not brand new, but it doesn't look like this side of the sprocket either.
Okay, that was it for the next time. Try this segment. Over the past 4 years or 3 years, there have been some fundraisers for the International Motocross Museum. I'm sure you've heard about it. Many of you attended. Of course, such people were there as Bob Hanna, Ricky Johnson, Keith McCarty, Roger DeCoster, and so many more. During the last International Motocross Museum fundraiser, which was the summer before last, we got a chance to spend some time afterward with some of the guys that were there, including Garrett Walsink, Harry Everett, and we took some time to do some videos. Now, these are still rough cut, so you're going to see some things that I recorded along with the producer of a show that will be coming up. It's some really, really great stuff. So we're going to take some time now to take a look at this, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what has been going on behind the scenes at the International Motocross Museum. As I said, we have it's about a 15 or 20 minute video, and the first one opens up with Garrett Walsink, and we'll take a look at that right now.
When you're ready, let her go. Garrett, I have to ask you a question that you often get asked. You were known as the king of Carlsbad. Is that a question you ever mind people asking you? Because I know they ask it a lot, and I just wanted to know, is that something that you get tired of, or you enjoy talking about your years at Carlsbad?
No, I enjoy talking about it because it's also an existence thing. Because I won Carlsbad every year, Suzuki wanted to keep me on the team, and it gave me a lot of in the United States. It gave me a lot of recognition,
It's okay.
And even in Europe, you know, they appreciate that. So I like it. It's okay. It's no problem.
So as a sand specialist, though, you seem to do very, very well on the hard pack of Carlsbad. How did you adjust to that? And did your bike setup have a lot to do with it?
No, my bike setup, it was funny because in '81 when I was on the Honda, when Chuck Sun won it and I was second, and then I had an argument with Roger about, he as a team manager, about setting up the bike, and I used my setting, the white power setting, I used in Holland in the sand tracks, and of course I was faster with the Showas, but I set it up for like halfway the race, you know, that it was working very well. And the other thing is, being a sand track specialist, I always like the hard tracks, and also in the sand is easy when you use to hard tracks, hard pack, because there's always a berm in the sand, you know. If you brake, it's always, and you have always traction, you know, and you never slide away. But it's how you read the track, you know. You used to read the track, avoiding most of the bumps, not all the bumps, but get traction and get speed all the time. So in Carlsbad was a winding track, was not a stop and go track. It was a winding track, blue groove, but outside the blue groove there were enough little berms where you could turn into. So that's, and I like it. So.
What about when you got to the loamy grass tracks of, say, a place like Unadilla? Did you like that as well?
I liked all the tracks where I was racing, except the hard-packed Italian tracks. I didn't like them. And it was stop and go a lot. And but I like the grass tracks, the English tracks I like a lot. But I didn't really have, Finland, Sweden, it didn't really matter, you know. We could race everywhere.
Didn't you also have some time with enduro racing or international six-day trials?
Yeah, I tried to compete in '72 on a BMW R69S. I was Dutch champion on that, enduro champion. And then, because of my motocross system, then I started in '80 on the Mako, 501 Mako in the 6 days. Was not a success. And then in '81, Honda asked me to develop, to use the XR500 with the ProLink, who come on the market, to use that in the enduro racing. And I kept up until '84. And in '81 I won my class in Elba with the XR500, and in '84 we won the trophy, world champion enduro with the Honda team. So, and then I quit.
I've got a question, and you can still look at Joe, but what was it like when you came over to the U.S. for the first time for the Trans Am series? What was that whole experience about, and what were you riding, and what was the culture shock? Was that the first time you were in the U.S.?
Yeah, I came over with the Mako team in '73, and then we finished 1, 2, and 3 in the Trans Am, and in the summer we was in Carlsbad when Willy Bauer won the Carlsbad GP, and I was second or third. And culture shock, I liked it here. So it's for me it was an easy traveling country. No borders, same food, same money. So and in the Mako days, because that was more amateur based than in the Suzuki days when it was more professionally organized.
You seem to be quite active in the Las Vegas motorcycle auction. I see you there almost every year.
Yeah.
Are you building another bike to bring with you to the auction this year? And can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I bought in the winter. I bought a '67 Husqvarna Boldon 360, a Viking cross, and because Husqvarna has always a big place in my heart, and they were on the developing beginning of the two-stroke motocross. You know, they were very strong in that, and so I'm restoring it. And I also use Meekum travel to the United States because I like the high desert from Las Vegas, the surroundings, and I do a nostalgia trip, and then I go home, and and then it lasts for a year, and but maybe this year for the last, I don't know, but I try to bring a Husqvarna 360.
Terry Good is bringing his collection to the public, the International Motocross Museum. Tell me why you think it's so important that everyone sees the history of those bikes and what he's trying to put together.
I think it's a fantastic idea. It takes guts, balls, his enthusiasm for that special, and I like, because I'm part of that part of the history. And starting with, because I used to race motocross on that Husqvarna 4-stroke when I was 16 years old or 17 years old in the local races. So my memory goes a long way, and it's the most important period in motocross. We went from 8 centimeter travel in the rear and the front to 30 centimeter suspension travel. We went from carburetors and contact points to electronic ignition. We went to reed valve engines, and now the 4-stroke, of course, but that's after this era. So the development in those years was gigantic, and I'm a lucky person. I looked in the kitchen at Husqvarna when they developed the famous 450 5-speed. I was using the 400 4-speed, but in the factory, the people, because I was semi supported. Then I went to Mako in the middle of the suspension war, with the moved up shocks. And then I went to Suzuki, where we also had the best bikes in the years. So I'm the luckiest person. I've looked in many kitchens, and I built my own bikes when I was younger. So I was very interested in the technical part of it. I had a big discussion with Torsten Hallman about the monoshock just here, and he will tell on the meeting. But I was interested in that. So that's why I think you have to congratulate Terry and to bring it to the public. And like Roger said when we were talking about our works bikes, he said, I want to have one person who buys it, and not that it's, how you call it, diverse in solo museums, in the shed or whatever. He wants to have scattered around. He wants to, he said, I really should like to keep it together.
Yeah.
And so you have to really admire it. And since he did it, all from everywhere bikes came, So mine bikes are here too, McAllister, they traded bikes, so it's a good initiative.
I think we got it. That last part I wanted to ask about the Makos going to the Suzukis, but you just covered it, so I think we're good.
Yeah,
and then we'll get more at the have you talking on stage.
Okay.
Harry. Okay, that was it from Garrett Walsink at the International Motocross Museum. That was the after party, so to speak. It was the next day after the fundraiser. We're going to take a little break right here. We are going to be back with Harry Everts. You're going to hear about when he first saw the twin carb poke. You're not going to believe exactly how this went down. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross.
I'm Heikki Mikkola. We will be right back.
That was perfect, Heikki.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. All of your donations and purchases are 100% tax deductible. Be sure to get over, Susie, to the internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. We have been watching a video with Garrett Walsink, and we have something just as interesting coming up right now. We were with both Garrett Walsink and Harry Everts, amongst many, many other legendary racers, but we were able to sit down with these two gentlemen, and we've got some footage now from Harry Everts, and let's get a listen to what Harry has to say. Here we go.
Before I begin to ask you about your career, I want to ask you about a special day in motocross that was very controversial, and I know you were there when it happened. Poland, Switzerland,
Yes.
when Jaroslav Falta
Yes.
was really the winner of the World Championship, but only for 30 minutes. Tell me what happened at that race, Harry, because I know you were the winner that day,
Yeah.
but what did you see take place between Falta and the Russian team?
I remember that day like today. It was the first heat. I won that first heat, so I never see behind what happened because Moshe Falta were fighting for the World Championship. And on between the two heats, he told me all the story what happened. So before that that second heat go on, so I was coming again. Moshe and Falta were fighting for the first position. They make a crash together. Then I coming first. I have a big lead, like 20 seconds. And then I knew I go a little bit more slow down myself because Falta was also a very good friend of me, from our family. You know, already from the first day we do the Grand Prix, he was like friends, the Czechos guys. But Moshe was also a good friend of me. And that second heat I go more down with the speed, so Falta passed me, and he was the winner. But I win the Grand Prix because when I was second or third, I still win the Grand Prix. So for me, it was not a problem when I was 2 or 3. So he go over the finish. He was the World Championship, but only 30 minutes, and then they make a protest that he was second, that he was not the winner because he jumped over the gate, but he was not complete over the gate. He was like half, because I know the photos and also the movie. He was half. And then when the gate dropped down and the floor, he was like half meter in front of all the group. You can see it very clearly in the video and in the photos. But normally, at this moment and that time, I don't know, normally when you do a bad start, you have to give the red flag or they take you out, and that was never coming. So why they make a disqualification? Because he was not complete over the gate, because in that time the gate dropped down in the front and he was lifting the bike a little bit. Okay, what is that? But okay, after then the protest, and you cannot believe this year, 2022, I do the Grand Prix in Czechoslovakia with my grandson Liam, and the guy who make the organization in Wolle, he's still in the motocross today. He is like 80, 85 years. He coming to the Grand Prix and always in Czechia he coming with the BMW road bike, and he's there. And I say to him, say Willy, his name is Willy. Say, you remember that year in 74 with Falta? I not want to hear nothing about it. He said, I not want to hear nothing, because his daughter, he was the import of KTM.
Yes.
And KTM was very big in that time. So he was the import. His daughter was in the club, in the organization of the club, and then behind the colors, behind the things, they decide we make a protest, we put them back. So it happened. That was the story of that Wallen. So I won the Grand Prix. I coming third in the World Championship. So normal the last day is always a nice party or something. It was nothing. It was no podium. You know, and for me it was very important because I win the Grand Prix also for the next year, but it was a bad evening. Okay, for fault of course. Eh?
Yeah.
So but I think he was the official winner. Yeah.
So tell me this: do you think that the FIM was unfair to him as well?
The FEM, I think was unfair. Something happened what was not allowed.
Right.
Yeah, this is no, you cannot do that. I think you cannot do that.
Harry, in Terry Good's collection is your Pook twin carb.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw that bike? When was the last time you raced that bike?
Oh, the last time when I raced the bike was in 1975. But that special bike, I got it the first Grand Prix Friday, 2 days before the Grand Prix. I have a same bike with one carburetor. You know, same chassis, same front fork, everything the same. And then we go to the Grand Prix, and Friday I arrive in Spain, in Sabadell, near Barcelona, and I see a new bike. I say, what is that, man? I never see this. Yeah, this is your new bike. I say, 2 carburetors. I say, what is that? So Saturday I go training, it was a complete handling, you know.
That was the first time you saw the twin carb?
1 day before the Grand Prix, the first training, the day before. And the day after the first year I won, and the second year was 7 or 8, but I won the Grand Prix with that bike. I said, not normal, it was so fast, that engine. And then the last time, it was end of the year. I was riding that bike. But I have a contract with Pook. I signed a contract in 1973. And the contract say, when we're coming world champion, we will stop. That was in my contract.
You got to keep riding till you
But I
become
was
the-
younger, say, yeah, I'm not coming world champion. It was a dream to be a world champion. Say, but I coming not a world champion. So the year later I was 3. 1 year later I won the world championship. But still here I have to go 1 year more. But in the same time the factory make the Everts replica 96 bike. So, oh yeah, we go on for 1 year more, 76, and Joel Abbate will be in the team. Say, oh, good, no problem. So, but what we don't know, we was never riding the factory bike anymore. We're riding the production bike, the Everts replica, and that bike we got in 76.
Right.
But have nothing to do because I was not a winner anymore, because Heikki won the world championship in 1976. I won some Grand Prix, but I was not like before. You know, I win the world championship and I think I was the king. You know, in the winter, I number 1, nobody can beat me, but that is just not correct, because I was in the winter champion. I have to go to the party here, I go party here, you know, I do all the parties, and that was the baddest thing what I do in the winter, because my condition go down. So that was my biggest problem.
Oh, you were 250 world champion, but
Yeah.
after that you went on to ride the 125s,
Yes.
and you became a 125 champion, world champion,
Yes,
3 times.
Yes.
What made you go to the 125s, and did you ever get an offer from another company to ride 250s?
No, my dream was to have a Suzuki
Oh,
from a kid. You know,
Suzuki.
I was born in motocross. My uncle, Jeff Davison, all the old riders, they know my uncle. His name was Jeff Davison. He was the sand king of Europe. Sand king, the best sand rider ever. Also, everybody know him. And this is why I'm coming in the motocross. And when I see the first time the Suzukis, I was a kid. I have to lie, I was 12, 13, 14 years old at home. I say, wow, I would have this bike. But I was a junior. I say, I dream, eh? Yeah, I dreaming for that. And one day, and when we go on, 75, 76, Sylvain Gabor say, oh, I will put you one day that you go on the Suzuki. It's okay. 76, 77, Pook stop. I signed a contract with Bultaco for 2 years. So 78, and I was waiting for the Suzuki, but no answer. No, say, okay, I go back to Bultaco. So I fly to Bultaco for my new contract, and the boss that day when I go to Barcelona, yeah, Harry, you have to come back next week because the boss have to go to some place, to Madrid. I say, okay, I come back in 1 week. And in that same week, I get a telegram at home until I'm go to Roger de Coster shop in Belgium, to Johnny Strijbos, and to Suzuki. I got a factory 125 bike Suzuki. I jumped like I cannot believe. But I have to go 125. But for me it was the same. I got the Suzuki. So it starts Suzuki. That's why I had the Suzuki.
Let's talk a little bit about your grandson, Liam. We know your son, Stefan, is a 10-time world champion.
Yes.
I want to know more about Liam, his training schedule. Where do you feel his career is going to go over the next couple of years?
I think Liam, when he is the same like we, like I was born in motocross, Stefan was born in motocross, Liam was born in motocross. When he start riding first time, I see that it in front of my eyes when he started the first time on the bike, and a small Yamaha bike. So we put him later and later and later, and we learn him a little bit with the stand on the bike, you know, the position. And I can see when he was riding 80, 85, the 85cc class, he have it. You know, he understand the bike direct. You know, it was one piece always. And that's very important. You know,
I couldn't make him come
and the
up
technique he have.
from Roy.
Yes, he have so much from Papa, from Stefan,
Any other
and
thing I
also
couldn't
from me,
find.
from standing. You know, it's not like same me, but he's a copy of Stefan when you see him riding.
Then I saw
But he's slow. You know, he's not like I go to the top like that fast. He's coming, but they like this more than he come like that and stay. Now it's coming, and I think he will stay long in that position. Yeah, he have it.
I can't even find him. And from
Yes, you will see him tomorrow. Yeah.
nothing.
Talking to you again as well, Harry.
Yeah.
I download him onto the computer when I go to put him
Thank
on.
you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Very, very interesting afternoon with Harry Everts and Garrett Walsink. I hope you enjoyed that. I want to thank Terry Good and the International Motocross Museum because that video is not available anyplace in the world. Terry told me I could use it on the show, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Now, last week, if you were watching, we had this on the air. This is the thumb drive from the International Motocross Museum first fundraiser. What you just saw with Harry Everts and Garrett Walsink, picture it edited, no background noise, really clear, but with Roger DeCoster, Bob Hanna, Ricky Johnson, Brian Myerscough, Barry Higgins, and so many more. If you go over to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org, you can buy a thumb drive just like that, and you can watch a beautifully edited piece from the International Motocross Museum and hear everyone's thought, like Rogers, Ricky Johnson, Bob Hanna, and so many more about what is to come for the International Motocross Museum. Terry Good, thank you once again for allowing me to use that. We will be announcing our viewer appreciation giveaway, which is the Falta book, the stolen title. We'll be doing that in just a little while, but right now we're going to get on with the rest of the show. The rest of the show happens to start with the What's It Worth segment that is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. We've got a 1967 Husky 360 this week, and it was sold in May. We've got some of the description of it here. It is a 350cc four-speed manual. It is maroon and silver, and of course made by Husqvarna. It is a 360. They call it the Viking. It is on a bill of sale only. This was at the Indianapolis auction on May 10th. The frame number is 671256. The engine is 671256. Overall, the bike was in beautiful condition, and I would certainly call it a restoration. The stainless steel work, the chrome work on the bike was really top-notch. The finishes and the fit of everything that I saw, from what I know about Husqvarna, everything looked really, really nice to me. The way the fenders lined up, the grommets were correct on the fenders, the handlebar width and their height all seemed to be correct as well. Here's another really great shot of it. The handlebars, you know, that special bend for that Husky. Just a really nice bolt-together bike. Bolt-togethers, of course, are the bikes that have that, what we would call the subframe at the rear. They are bolted to the down tube of the frame, or the midsection down tube, and down where the swing arm would go. Here's another beautiful picture of this bike. Now, the thing I couldn't understand was the price. And I thought I had it here. Actually, I mean, I know the price, but I thought I had a slide that actually had it here. All right, not really important right now. This is, of course, a portion of the show where I ask you, the viewers at home, what do you think this 1967 Husky 360 sold for back in May? $5,000,
$7,000. I personally thought this bike would go for at least $10,000. Bill Masho said there were a couple of things wrong with this bike that really hurt the value of it. I'm not really sure what those things were. I was going to have Bill on the show. I couldn't get a hold of him at the last minute. But anyway, this bike sold for $4,950.
Wow.
$4,950. 67,360 Husky. Thought it would go for a whole lot more than that. That segment, of course, is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Thank you, Tom McAllister, for all you do for us here at the show. For the rims, nipples, spokes, laces, and truing, and of course, those fabulous CZ backing plates, just $179. And if you don't want the logo on it, it's just $169. We are going to take a short break right now. We're going to hear from our sponsor, Vinco. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. Here's a message from Vinco.
Vinco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vinco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vinco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vinco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vinco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
Vinco's got lots of great specials going on right now for top-end kits from the DTs and YZs and IT Yamahas, as well as rod kits for about 40 different Suzukis, 90cc, 100cc, and 125s. Get over to Vinco.com. And here's the problem segment this week. We have a quick question that came in from a good supporter of the show, and a guy I've met at the International Motocross Museum. All-around great guy. Not the International Motocross Museum. I think I met him at George Ackerman's Moto Barn in Virginia. Brian Webley. Joe, during a leak down test on a crank seal and case half gasket, is the clutch side cover removed to see that crank seal, or do you check the pressure in the clutch side case? This process is crucial in troubleshooting engine performance and reliability. You're absolutely correct. And no, you would not want to check the pressure with the cover on. I guess you could put a gauge in the clutch cover, but if you have a leaky crank seal, you're actually going to see the pressure go up. What you want to do is you want to take off the clutch cover and have it look something like this. Exactly. This is actually a little closer in a picture than it should be, but you should have this primary gear off, and the clutch right behind there is the crank seal. Now, as you fill your engine up and you have it sealed off and you put 5 to 7 pounds of compressed air in there, you're going to check the seals, you're going to check the base gasket, you're going to check the head gasket. You would normally do that by spraying some WD-40 around those areas, and you're going to check for leaks. If you see some bubbles, well, then you know that you're going to have to take the seal off, or heaven forbid you see it in the case half, and you know that maybe the crankcase area is leaking, then you're going to have to split those cases again. But no, you don't want to do it with the clutch cover on. You want to do it with the clutch cover off. You want to pump it up with a leak down or vacuum tester like this, and spray some of that WD-40 around those crank seals and any place else where there is a seal put on the engine. In the Moto Showcase tonight, which is brought to you by Preston Petty. Don't forget to visit them online at PrestonPettyProducts.com. And Paul Stainerd and Mike Murphy do a great job every week. We've been giving away grips like this every week, or just about every other week. But this week we have in our Moto Showcase, we've got a 1974 Yamaha MX250A. This was sent in to us by Chuck McKee. And Chuck writes to me, "Hey, Joe, here's my 74 MX250A. It is a racer, but I keep it looking as good as I can. I brought this bike back to life. It was dead, laying in a shed for about 10 years. The motor work was done by Stephen A. Evans at Cycle Shop Modern and Vintage in Carnesville, Georgia. Best vintage shop in the Southeast, in my opinion. The head is decked per your research and help. Cylinder's been cleaned up. It's got new NJB Ultimate shocks and HPI ignition, a powder-coated frame, and it has brought me 3 series championships." Oh, there's a great picture right here. Chuck McKee tearing it up
on that 1974 Yamaha MX250A. There it is. Chuck, I want to thank you for sending that in. And as I just mentioned, we're going to get you a set of grips, compliments of PrestonPettyProducts.com. Chuck, get me your address, and I will get you those grips, compliments of PrestonPettyProducts.com. Don't forget, Motion Pro still has a special going on. You don't have to go to Vintage Motocross Q&A to see it. Go over when you check out. Put in the code MP9135. That's MP9135. 20% off across the board on everything from Motion Pro, except what, Susie? That's right, custom-made cables. Are you almost ready with your announcement for your... All right, then let's do that. Let's do that, and we will go from there. Remove from the studio. I will put the lovely Susie back on right now, and she can tell us who the winner is. Susie, who is the winner of the book, The Stolen Title?
The winner this evening is, drum roll, Eddie Williams. Eddie Williams, you are the winner this evening of the Viewer Appreciation Prize. Here it is, the Stolen Title.
Eddie, congratulations. You need to get a hold of us, Eddie. Get us your mailing address. You will get a copy of The Stolen Title directly from Martina herself. She will have it autographed and sent right to you. Susie, great job.
Thank you.
And we're going to move on right now with This Week in Motocross History. This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by Racer X Magazine, available on your newsstand or online now. 1972. I'm sorry. This is 1972 right here, I think. I think I had the wrong picture. No, I got the wrong picture again. What is going on here? Oh, man, I had a 1972 picture of Brad Lackey. But anyway, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over this 1973 picture. Despite being dominant in the FIM 250 and 500cc World Championship scene, Suzuki had yet to win an AMA National until this day in 1973. It happened in Olive Branch, Mississippi, just below Memphis, Tennessee. The man to do it was Mike Runyard, riding the 500cc class. Runyard won the last of 3 motos of the day and claimed the overall ahead of Kawasaki's Peter Lampu, CZ rider John DeSoto, to give Suzuki its first taste of success in the second year of AMA Pro Motocross. It was 1976. AMA 250 Nationals was held in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Jimmy Weiner took the overall win from defending champion and local hero Tony DeStefano, a Team Suzuki and Kawasaki's Gary Semix. The top 20 had these brands. Imagine this. This is what I really found interesting about this this week in motocross history. The top 20 riders of that race that day had these brands in their highest finishing order: Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, Mako, Husqvarna, Osa, CZ, Harley Davidson, MX Isolo, and Honda. Imagine that. Over 10 brands in 20 brands in the top 10. I just love this picture of guys who were, well, I guess, sort of arch enemies or extremely fierce competitors back in the 74, 75, 76 era.
That's Tony D.
That is the great Tony D, Tony DeStefano, and to his left, Jimmy Weiner. Let's get down to the finish line. I'll tell you more about what's happening there. The finish line is brought to you by ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, my favorite sponsor of all of our sponsors, Paul Parkinson. Why? Because he does so much to help the vintage motocross community. He's got more products out there and more coming up every week, from air filters to your CRs to chain guides, rubber parts, soft rubber parts, kickstarters, and knuckles. He's coming up with a gear and transmission set, lay shafts. He's got it all going on there. That's Paul Parkinson Sr. at ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com. Here's the shirt right here, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com. We are going to take a short break. I'm going to come back and wrap up the show. We've got a new commercial for you from
I'm Don Kadowski, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Don't go anywhere.
As soon as I find it. It's here somewhere. There we go.
Find it?
Oh, sure.
What's up, everybody? Anthony Vicencio here today at Motion Pro, and today I want to show you our heavy-duty clutch holding tool. It's used to hold the clutch hub in place when doing service work on the clutch. What's neat about this tool is it has a reversible blade on each side, and you can use that for either the square style splines or the round style that you find on KTM hubs. It has a range from 75 millimeters all the way up to 120 millimeters. That's adjustable with this knob here. And we'll show you real quick how you would use it on a bike like this to hold your clutch hub in place. So as you can see, we have the round side of the blade facing in, which is what's going to work on the KTM style hub. As you can see here, got the round slots. So I'm going to put this into position here and then start to turn this in so that way we can get it secure on the hub, which is starting to snug up. Let me give it a double check here. Beautiful. Now it's got a nice secure grip there, and we'll be able to begin our service work. And one last cool feature about this, the handle is removable, so you can get easy storage. It doesn't take a whole lot of space in your toolbox. Comes off just like that. The blades are removable with this little Allen key here. If you like this product or are interested in any more of our products, you can go to www.motionpro.com. You can check out our YouTube channel, Instagram, and the most important of all, go see your local Motion Pro dealer.
There you go. It's from Motion Pro. Great little tool. I've got one here in the shop, and we've used it a few times. It's a great way not to damage the basket, the clutch basket on your bike. And as I said, we're just about ready to wrap it up here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We do have a couple of announcements coming up. June 1st, Hangtown. That's coming up next weekend. Tickets are still available. That's Hangtown. That's Saturday, June 1st, 2024. The Burner has an event coming up too, and that's the Carlsbad Reunion. Carlsbad Reunion is happening next weekend down in Carlsbad, California. Not in Carlsbad, California, but that happens actually in not Oceanside. And I don't have the slide here. You got to forgive me, guys. I'll post it on the page if you want to go to the Carlsbad Reunion. That's next week.
Where's that? I don't remember.
That's next week in California, in Southern California. Anyway, Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsorship opportunities are still available. Get a hold of me, and we'll help you out, get you on board with the other sponsors here on the show. In the meantime, I think that about wraps it up for this week's edition of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Once again, I want to thank Terry Good and the International Motocross Museum and Cindy as well. Yeah, I've got Gino here, and we're ow! Jesus, get up here, Gino. Okay. That's it. We're going to wrap it up here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll see you next time. And I think I even have Gino here. Rocco here too. Come here, Rocco. Somebody asked me the other day what happened to Rocco. Rocco's still here. He's still alive. He's still doing good. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to wrap it up, guys. You ready? Okay, here we go.